Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm better than most, but not as good as some. I'm your host, the XRP Agent. Man, from Stephen Bull from the deep, we have earth-shattering news. In Japan, almost every bank is starting to adopt XRP from David Jevans. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yes, Stephen Bull, he tweeted a little while ago this video of David Jevans speaking at an event, and he speaks about all the cryptocurrencies and the banks using them. And this video is about like 40 minutes long. I have it on YouTube, but let's check this out. So this is the clip that he shares on Twitter.
So there's over 1,600 cryptocurrencies today that use blockchain. So all of us have probably heard about Bitcoin, some of us about Ethereum. In Japan, almost every bank is starting to work with something called XRP, or you may know it as Ripple.
What?
And there's many others.
Say that again.
So there's over 1,600 cryptocurrencies today that use blockchain. So all of us have probably heard about Bitcoin, some of us about Ethereum. In Japan, almost every bank is starting to work with something called XRP, or you may know it as Ripple. And there's many others.
What? Yeah, so this is the video right here. AI and machine learning and analyzing cryptocurrencies and the blockchain. RTC 2019. So this is a little bit back from what he's talking about. But
and being able to bring that all together into an AI and machine learning platform is a real challenge. So there's over 1,600 cryptocurrencies today that use blockchain. So all of us have probably heard about Bitcoin, some of us about Ethereum. In Japan, almost every bank is starting to work with something called XRP, or you may know it as Ripple. And there's many others. Think about the volume of data here. So if you look at Bitcoin and you look at Ethereum, right there you've got a couple million transactions a day. And then look at all the other ones. If you go through 1,600 of them, it's a massive data problem. And trying to do it in real time is a big deal. The other thing you have to think about in this problem, as we saw in the last three presentations, is not only your data pipeline, but how you do analysis on it. Because you're bringing data in, you want to make decisions in real time, but you also have to have a separate data science group that can run models, that can try out machine learning algorithms, and trying to do that to spin up these instances up and down and keep the data sources running is extremely difficult to manage and requires a lot of computation, a lot of storage. So we have all these challenges, and then of course you've got to do it over all of these blockchains. So today we're tracking over 700 currencies, and we have to keep adding more because it keeps growing. People invent new blockchains with different types of data, with different transaction models. So consider this. Ethereum is a blockchain where it's like a bank account. You have an address, and every time you send somebody something, it comes from your address. Pretty simple. You have 100 million users, you got 100 million addresses. Okay, we can understand and manage that. You know, it's like having 100 million customers. But consider Bitcoin, which is a different type of blockchain. Every time you make a payment, it creates a new address. So the number of addresses go up and up and up and up and up. So now on Bitcoin, we're managing more than 500 million addresses. So think about those as users, almost.
So you generally get the idea. Now, almost every bank in Japan is adopting XRP, man, that's amazing. But also too, it's a semi-long video, 37 minutes. But this guy is very articulate. He's very interesting, and is very good. But if we skip over here, I think the 28 mark is something very interesting. Now, you know how we have people hacking into our computers, shutting them down, ransomware, all this other stuff. Now, this AI technology, it combs the whole internet of these cryptocurrency transactions through these models that he's talking about. And he goes into detail, but I suggest you look at the video. That way you can get the correct information and all the information he's providing. But check this out.
Blue is us paying the ransom. The first red circle, that's the bad guys. But you can see here there's 6 other victims. We've already been able to identify 6 other people through this machine learning that were also victims. And as we move forward through transactions, we can now see 82 other intermediate addresses. So now we're starting to map out the network, and we can now see where they were cashing it out. They were cashing it out at a company called BTCE, which was in Cyprus, feeding Russian money launderers. So through the machine learning, we now can train the model. Now let's get more data into it. We get a bunch more data into the model, and here's what we discover. We run this thing. It actually took about 2.5 weeks to run. We had to analyze a couple of 100 million transaction chains deep in through the network. So this took about 2.5 weeks to run. And what we can start to see is a cluster. And then we apply the tagging to it. And what we got was a map that showed where all of the world's ransomware payments were going. And we can see here in the center, it's all going to one place. I mean, there are outliers around it. There's a little bit of outliers everywhere. But there are outliers around it. There's a little bit of outliers. And what we got was a map that showed where all of the world's ransomware payments were going. And we can see here in the center, it's all going to one place. I mean, there are outliers around it. There's a little bit of outliers everywhere. But probably 97% of all ransomware was being actually operated by one group going through one exchange.
Wow, that is powerful. Technology now is just blowing the lid off everything that we know or come to know about technology, about internet. And like a lot of people is using all these coins and they think they're anonymous, but they're really not. But you can see through this video and, what Steven has tweeted, that we're in the digital age. It's like, yeah, we came from 8-track to cassette to CD, laser disc, storage drives, but now we're in the internet of value. 2020 is the internet of value, and I'm just so excited because in Japan, almost every bank is starting to adopt XRP. The banks in the US are starting to use XRP. What is the price of XRP right now? Is at 18 cents. Are you listening to me? 18 cents. This is life changing right now. You have a cheat sheet on the future. We will never, ever, ever, never, ever, are you listening to me, ever see 18 cents XRP ever again. XRP will blow past Ethereum, BTC. It has the 100% use case. Now, earlier, what was that? Brad Garlinghouse they did a video. Well, I'll get that. I'll get back to. I'm just excited. If I'm making a prediction, a bold prediction, in 2020 we'll see XRP shoot to the moon, and it's gonna be over 50 cents. It's going to be over 75 cents. It's going to be over $2 or $3. Once all the banks start using it and stuff like that, it's going to be in the hundreds and in the thousands. You can mark my word. It's going to start blowing in 2020, because I can't see how where we're at with all this information that the plumbing is not already fully laid. It probably just needs some tweaking here and there, but we're waiting on regulation clarity, and once that kicks in, once everybody is set and ready and they start flipping the switch, oh God, oh yes, we're gonna be seeing mass adoption. Well, hey, this is William. Well, yeah, it's William May, but this is the XRP Agent saying 2020, I am very bullish. All right. This is the XRP Agent. Until next time, later.